Commander Thexara stared at the display screen with all 6 of her eyes wide open. Her purple skin turned a darker shade as confusion mixed with fear. The numbers on the screen made no sense at all. "Run the scan again," she told her crew member. "There must be an error." The young officer at the sensor station pressed several buttons. His hands shook a little as he worked. "Commander, the readings are the same. The ship is moving at impossible speeds." Thexara walked closer to the main display. The space station Omega-7 had been her home for 3 years now. She knew every sound the station made, every light that blinked, and every normal reading on the sensors. What she saw now was not normal at all. "How fast?" she asked. "The computer says it's moving at 0.95 light speed. But that cannot be right. No ship can go that fast without a jump drive." The commander looked at the data again. Her people, the Zephyrians, had ruled this part of space for over 1,000 years. They knew every ship design, from every species in the galaxy. Their database held information about millions of different vessels. But this ship was not in their records. "What does it look like?" she asked. The officer pressed more buttons. A shape appeared on the screen. It was long and thin, with a smooth metal surface that seemed to bend light around it. Strange energy patterns flowed along its hull like liquid fire. "I have never seen anything like this," the officer said. "The computer cannot identify the metal or the energy source." Thexara felt a cold feeling in her stomach. In her 20 years of service, she had never encountered anything the Empire could not identify. The Zephyrian Empire was the most powerful force in known space. Their technology was the best. Their knowledge was complete. "Try to contact the ship," she ordered. The communications officer, a tall female with bright green skin, started working at her station. "Broadcasting on all frequencies, Commander, using all known languages and standard first contact protocols." They waited. The strange ship continued moving through space at its impossible speed. It seemed to be heading toward the inner systems of the Empire. "Any response?" Thexara asked. "Nothing, Commander. The ship is not answering any of our calls." Thexara looked at the tactical display. The ship was now close enough for detailed scans. What she saw made her hearts beat faster. The vessel was massive, much larger than any ship in the Imperial fleet. Its energy readings were off the charts. "Commander," the sensor officer called out with panic in his voice. "The ship just disappeared." "What do you mean disappeared?" "It was there 1 second, and now it's gone. No energy signature, no heat trail, nothing. It's like it never existed." Thexara rushed to the sensor station. The screen showed empty space where the ship had been moments before. But there was something else. Strange ripples in space-time, like waves on water after a stone is thrown in. "Those are quantum distortions," she said quietly. "What kind of technology can create those?" The bridge became very quiet. Everyone stared at their screens, looking for any sign of the mystery ship. The only sounds were the normal humming of the station and the quiet beeping of computers. "Commander," the communications officer said in a whisper. "I'm getting reports from other stations. They all detected the same ship. It appeared in 7 different sectors at the same time." "That's impossible. No ship can be in 7 places at once." "The timestamps all match. Every station recorded the same vessel at exactly the same moment." Thexara felt dizzy. Everything she knew about physics and technology was being challenged by this one ship. She sat down in her command chair and tried to think clearly. "Send an emergency message to Imperial Command," she said. "Priority Alpha. Tell them we have encountered an unknown vessel with technology beyond our understanding." "What should I tell them about its intentions?" the communications officer asked. Thexara looked at the tactical display again. The quantum distortions were getting stronger, not weaker. Something was still there, even though they could not see it. "Tell them the ship was scanning us. It was learning about our technology and our defenses, and tell them." She paused, not wanting to say the words that might start a panic. "Tell them it seemed to be studying us like we were insects under glass." The crew worked quickly to prepare the message. Thexara watched the empty space where the ship had been. She had a feeling this was just the beginning. Something had found the Empire, something with technology that made their greatest achievements look like children's toys. The message went out into space, traveling at light speed toward the Imperial capital. It would take hours to reach command. But Thexara knew that time was now precious. Whatever that ship was, wherever it came from, it was not done with them. She stood up and looked out the station's main window. Space looked the same as always. Stars dotted the darkness like tiny diamonds. But she knew that somewhere out there, something was watching them, something that could appear and disappear at will, something that traveled faster than should be possible. "Keep scanning," she ordered her crew. "Full power to all sensors. If that ship comes back, I want to know about it immediately." The crew nodded and went back to work, but Thexara could see the fear in their eyes. They all understood what this meant. The Empire was no longer alone at the top of the technological ladder. Something else was out there. Something better, and it was coming. Admiral Kethmore read the message 3 times before he believed it. He was a large man, even for a Zephyrian. His dark blue skin and silver eyes had seen many battles. His forearms moved quickly as he worked at his command station aboard the massive ship called Dominance of Stars. "Get me the fleet commanders," he ordered. "All of them. Now." The bridge of the Dominance was the size of a small building. Hundreds of officers worked at stations that covered every wall. The ship was the pride of the Imperial Navy. It was 2 kilometers long and carried enough firepower to destroy a planet. Within minutes, holographic images of 3 other admirals appeared before Kethmore. These were his best commanders, each leading a battle group of 50 ships. "You have all read the report from Omega-7, Kethmore said. "What are your thoughts?" Admiral Vexton, a female with red skin and 3 eyes, spoke first. "The data must be wrong. No ship can move that fast or disappear completely. The sensor readings were checked 4 times, Kethmore replied. "Station Omega-7 has the best equipment we have. If they say they detected something impossible, we must take it seriously." Admiral Garhelm, the oldest of the group, moved his gray head slowly. "In 50 years of service, I have never seen anything like this. But I believe we should prepare for the worst." "What do you suggest?" Kethmore asked. "Full mobilization. Bring all 3 deep strike fleets to the outer rim. If something unknown is out there, we need to find it before it finds our core worlds." Admiral Nalisa, the youngest commander, looked worried. "That would mean moving almost 200 ships. Are we sure this is not just a sensor malfunction?" Before anyone could answer, alarms started ringing throughout the ship. A communications officer ran to Kethmore's station. "Sir, we're getting reports from the mining colony at Xerion 4. They detected the same unknown ship. It's there right now." Kethmore felt his blood get cold. Xerion 4 was 3 days away from Omega-7 at maximum speed. No ship could travel that distance so quickly. "Order all fleets to Xerion 4 immediately," he commanded. "Maximum speed, battle-ready formation." The 3 admirals nodded, and their images disappeared. Kethmore turned to his crew. "Set course for Xerion 4. Emergency jump. All weapons powered and ready." The Dominance of Stars began to move. Around it, 49 other ships followed. They entered jump space, where normal physics did not apply. Even at jump speed, it would take them 6 hours to reach the mining colony. During the journey, more reports came in. The unknown ship was not just visiting Xerion 4. It was moving around the colony in careful patterns. It seemed to be scanning everything. "The ship is acting like it's studying the colony," reported the intelligence officer. "Its movements are too organized to be random." "What kind of scans is it using?" Kethmore asked. "Unknown energy patterns. The colonists say their equipment is picking up readings they have never seen before. Some of their computers are acting strangely." When the Imperial fleet finally arrived at Xerion 4, they found the colony intact but frightened. The unknown ship was still there, floating 2 kilometers above the main mining facility. Up close, it was even more impressive than the reports suggested. "My gods," whispered the weapons officer. "Look at the size of that thing. The ship was 5 kilometers long and perfectly smooth. Its surface reflected light in ways that hurt to look at. Energy flowed along its hull in patterns that seemed alive. No weapons were visible, but Kethmore knew that meant nothing. "Try to contact them," he ordered. "Broadcasting on all frequencies, sir. All known languages and mathematical sequences." They waited. The strange ship continued its scanning patterns. It moved with grace that no ship their size should have. It could turn and stop without any visible thrusters or engine exhaust. "Sir," called the sensor officer. "The ship is scanning us now. Very detailed scans. It's learning about our weapons, our shields, everything. Raise shields. Prepare weapons," Kethmore commanded. "If they want to study us, they can do it through our defenses." The moment their shields came online, something amazing happened. The unknown ship stopped moving. It turned slowly to face the Imperial fleet. For the first time, they could see what might have been a bridge or command section. "Admiral," the communications officer said with excitement, "we're receiving a transmission. It's in perfect Imperial standard. Put it through." A calm voice filled the bridge. It spoke their language without any accent or strange sounds. "Imperial vessels, you are showing hostile intentions. Please lower your weapons. We mean you no harm." Kethmore stood up from his command chair. "This is Admiral Kethmore of the Imperial Navy. Identify yourself and explain your presence in Imperial space. We are explorers from beyond your known space. We apologize for any concern we have caused. We are simply learning about your civilization." "Learning for what purpose?" There was a pause. Then the voice spoke again, and Kethmore could hear something like sadness in it. "To determine if we can coexist. We have traveled very far to reach this place. We hope to find a new home here." "You did not answer my first question. Who are you?" "We are humans from Earth, and we have nowhere else to go." Before Kethmore could respond, his tactical officer started shouting, "Admiral, the ship is moving!" The human vessel began to move in ways that should have been impossible. It flew between the Imperial ships like they were standing still. It made turns that should have destroyed any crew inside, but it never fired weapons or showed any hostility. "It's playing with us." Garhelm's voice came through communications. "This ship could destroy our entire fleet if it wanted to." The human ship completed a perfect circle around all 50 Imperial vessels and returned to its original position. The demonstration had taken less than 30 seconds. "We hope this answers your questions about our capabilities," the calm voice said. "We would like to talk more. But first, we need you to understand that we are not your enemies. We are simply refugees, looking for a place to rest." Kethmore sat down heavily in his chair. In his 40 years of military service, he had never felt so helpless. The Empire's greatest fleet had just been made to look like children playing with toy ships. "What are you running from?" he asked. The voice was quiet for a long moment. When it spoke again, there was real fear in it. "Something much worse than anything your people can imagine. And we pray it never finds us here." The human ship moved away from the mining colony to open space. Admiral Kethmore ordered his fleet to follow at a safe distance. He wanted answers, but he also knew his ships were no match for the strange vessel. "Admiral," his communications officer called. "The human ship is requesting a formal meeting. They want to send diplomatic protocols." "What kind of protocols?" "They're transmitting in languages I don't recognize." "Wait. Now they're switching to Old Zephyrian. That language died out 500 years ago." Kethmore felt confused. How could they know Old Zephyrian? "Sir, now they're using ancient Kelvani. That civilization ended over 1,000 years ago. How do they know these dead languages?" Before Kethmore could answer, the transmission changed again. This time, it was in perfect modern Imperial standard. But the accent was different, older somehow. "Imperial Fleet. This is Captain Sarah Chen of the Terran exploratory vessel Endeavour. We request permission to conduct formal first contact procedures. This is Admiral Kethmore. Permission granted." But I want to know how you learned our ancient languages. We have been watching your people for some time, Admiral. We needed to understand your culture and history before making contact. We learned your languages from your own broadcasts. Watching us? For how long? Approximately 8 of your months. We studied your communications, your art, your literature. We wanted to be sure of your nature before revealing ourselves. Kethmore felt angry. You've been spying on us? Learning about you. There is a difference. We never interfered with your activities or harmed anyone. We simply observed and studied. The human ship began to change. Parts of its hull became transparent, showing the inside. Kethmore could see levels and sections filled with technology he didn't understand, and he could see people moving around inside. Admiral, I'm going to send you a visual transmission. I hope this will help establish trust between us. The main screen on Kethmore's bridge flickered. Then he saw something that shocked him. A human face looked back at him. The creature had pale skin, dark hair, and only 2 eyes. She looked young but tired, like someone who had traveled very far. I am Captain Sarah Chen, the human said. I command this vessel and speak for my people in this region of space. You look strange, Kethmore said. He immediately regretted the comment. Sarah smiled, showing white teeth. I imagine we do. We are very different from your people, but we are not so different in our hopes and dreams. Tell me about your ship. Our sensors cannot understand your technology. The Endeavor is one of our deep exploration vessels. We designed it for very long journeys through dangerous space. It has systems that your people have not yet developed, such as quantum displacement drives, reality manipulation shields, temporal acceleration fields. We developed these technologies out of necessity. Kethmore had never heard of such things. Why necessity? Sarah's expression became sad. Because we were dying, Admiral. Our entire species was facing extinction. We had to create new technologies to survive. What threatened you? Perhaps that is a story for another time. First, we should discuss why we are here and what we hope to accomplish. Kethmore looked around his bridge. His crew was staring at the screen in wonder. None of them had ever seen a creature like this human. What do you want from us? He asked. A place to rest. A chance to rebuild. We have been traveling between galaxies for generations. We are tired of running. Between galaxies? That's impossible. For your current technology, yes. For us, it is simply another journey. We have crossed the void between star systems many times. How many of you are there? Sarah paused before answering. The Endeavor carries 12,000 souls. But we are not alone. Other ships will arrive soon. How many other ships? Many thousands. Our entire surviving population is coming to this galaxy. We have no other choice. Many thousands. We have no other choice. Kethmore felt a chill run through his body. Thousands of ships? Each with technology far beyond Imperial capabilities? You're talking about an invasion, he said. No, Admiral. We're talking about refugees seeking sanctuary. We have no interest in conquering your people or taking your territory. We simply want to find empty worlds where we can build new homes. And if we refuse? Sarah's expression became harder. Then we will find empty worlds anyway. We will not let our people die simply because others fear us. That sounds like a threat. It is reality. We have the ability to take what we need, but we prefer to ask permission first. It is more civilized. Admiral Garhelm's voice came through the communication system. Admiral Kethmore, I'm detecting massive energy buildups throughout their ship. Whatever they're preparing, it's beyond our ability to measure. Sarah heard the comment. We are simply charging our defensive systems. Admiral Garhelm, your fleet has weapons pointed at us. We must be prepared to protect ourselves. How did you know his name? Kethmore demanded. We intercepted your communications during your approach. We know all your names, your ship capabilities, and your tactical formations. We also know about the reinforcements coming from your home worlds. What reinforcements? The additional fleets your government ordered. They will arrive in approximately 14 hours. 700 ships in total. Keth Moore's mouth fell open. The mobilization order was classified at the highest levels. There was no way these humans could know about it unless— "You've been monitoring all our communications," he said. "Yes, it seemed wise to understand your military capabilities before making contact. We needed to know if you would try to destroy us on sight. And what did you learn? That your people are brave but cautious. You have strong defensive instincts, but you are not needlessly aggressive. This gives us hope for peaceful coexistence." Keth Moore looked at his tactical displays. His 50 ships were the most powerful force the Empire had ever assembled. But compared to the human vessel, they seemed like toys. "What do you want us to do?" he asked. "Return to your superiors. Tell them what you have learned. Explain that we seek peaceful settlement. We will wait for their decision. And if they decide to fight?" Sarah's expression became very serious. "Admiral, your people are not the first we have encountered in our long journey. We have met many spacefaring civilizations. Some welcomed us, others tried to destroy us. We remember all of them. What happened to those who fought you? They learned that fighting us was pointless. We do not wish to harm anyone, but we will not allow ourselves to be destroyed. We have survived too much to die now." The transmission ended. The human ship began to move away from the Imperial fleet, but not quickly. It seemed to be giving them time to decide what to do. Keth Moore sat in his command chair and tried to understand what had just happened. The Empire had just made contact with beings who possessed technology beyond imagination, beings who claimed to be refugees but had the power to crush any resistance. "Set course for home," he ordered. "Maximum speed. We need to warn the High Council." As his fleet prepared to jump to hyperspace, Keth Moore took one last look at the human ship. It floated silently in space, waiting. Beautiful and terrible at the same time. He had a feeling that the Empire's peaceful days were over. 3 days later, Admiral Keth Moore returned to the Zirion system with the largest fleet in Imperial history. 700 ships filled the space around the mining colony. Battleships, cruisers, destroyers, and support vessels stretched for thousands of kilometers in perfect formation. The High Council had given him clear orders: make the humans submit to Imperial authority or destroy them. There would be no other options. "Admiral," his sensor officer reported, "the human ship is still in the same position. It hasn't moved since we left." Keth Moore looked at the tactical display. The Endeavour floated alone in space, surrounded by the most powerful military force the Empire had ever assembled. It seemed very small compared to his massive fleet. "Open communications," he ordered. Captain Sarah Chen's image appeared on his screen. She looked exactly the same as before, calm and tired. But Keth Moore thought he could see sadness in her strange eyes. "Admiral Keth Moore," she said, "you have returned with many ships. The High Council has made their decision." Keth Moore replied, "You will submit to Imperial authority. You will allow our teams to board your ship and examine your technology. You will tell us everything about your people and your capabilities. And if we refuse, then we will destroy you." Sarah was quiet for a moment. When she spoke, her voice was soft. "You cannot destroy us, Admiral, but you can force us to defend ourselves. Is that really what your people want? We want you to understand that this galaxy belongs to the Empire. We have ruled here for 1,000 years. We will not allow unknown aliens to threaten our security. We do not threaten your security. We have already told you that we seek only empty worlds for our people. That is not acceptable. All worlds in this galaxy belong to the Empire, whether we have settled them or not." Sarah nodded slowly. "I see. Then there is nothing more to discuss. You will surrender now, or face the consequences." "Admiral, may I ask you something?" "What is it? Do you really believe your 700 ships can defeat us?" Keth Moore looked around his bridge. His crew was ready for battle. His weapons were charged and aimed. His shields were at full power. "Yes," he said. "We do. Then I am sorry for what comes next." The human ship began to change. Its smooth hull started to glow with soft light, Energy patterns that had been moving slowly along its surface suddenly became brighter and faster. "All ships," Kethmore commanded, "fire at will." 700 ships opened fire at the same time. Energy beams, missiles, and plasma weapons struck the human vessel from every direction. The combined firepower was enough to destroy a small moon. The weapons hit the Endeavor and simply disappeared. The energy beams bent around the ship like water flowing around a rock. The missiles exploded harmlessly against some invisible barrier. The plasma weapons were absorbed into the ship's hull and made it glow brighter. "Impossible," whispered the weapons officer. The human ship began to move. It accelerated toward the Imperial fleet at a speed that should have been impossible. But instead of crashing into the ships, it did something that made Kethmore's mind hurt to watch. The Endeavor passed through the Empire ships like they were made of air. It flew directly through the hull of a battleship, without touching it. Both ships remained perfectly intact, but somehow, the human vessel had occupied the same space at the same time. "What just happened?" Kethmore demanded. "Sir, they seem to have phased out of normal space-time. They can pass through solid matter at will." Routing line. The Endeavor completed its impossible flight through the Imperial formation and stopped behind the fleet. Then it began to demonstrate its other capabilities. Energy beams shot out from the human ship, but these beams were different from any weapon Kethmore had seen. When they hit Imperial vessels, the ships didn't explode or burn. Instead, their systems simply stopped working. "Admiral," called the engineering officer, "the Valiant has lost all power. The Destroyer and the Thunder are also going dark. Whatever those beams do, they're shutting down our ships." More beams lanced out from the Endeavor. Each one disabled another Imperial vessel. The affected ships floated helplessly in space, their crews unharmed, but their technology completely dead. "Can we defend against it?" Kethmore asked. "No, sir. The beams pass right through our shields. They seem to target the basic atomic structure of our machines." In less than 10 minutes, the human ship had disabled 50 Imperial vessels. It moved through the fleet, like a predator hunting easy prey. Every time Imperial ships tried to surround it, the Endeavor simply phased through them and attacked from a different angle. "Admiral," the communications officer called, "I'm getting reports from all over the fleet. Ships are losing power in groups. Some crews are reporting that their own weapons are turning around and pointing at them." Kethmore watched in horror as his mighty fleet became helpless. The human ship wasn't just disabling their vessels. It was taking control of their systems and turning them against each other. "Sir, the Endeavor is hailing us. Put it through." Sarah Chen's face appeared on the screen again. She looked sad but not surprised. "Admiral, please order your remaining ships to stop firing. You are only wasting energy." "What have you done to my fleet?" "We have temporarily disabled their ability to harm us or each other. No one has been injured, and the effects will wear off in a few hours. But we felt we needed to show you that continued resistance is pointless. This is impossible technology. You're using some kind of trick." "It is not a trick, Admiral. It is simply more advanced science than your people have developed. We have had many centuries to perfect these abilities." Suddenly, space around the human ship began to tear open. Holes appeared in reality itself, showing swirling energy and strange lights beyond. Through these holes, Kethmore could see other places, other star systems, other galaxies. "This is our transportation technology," Sarah explained. "We do not travel through space, Admiral. We travel around it. We step outside of normal reality and move to where we want to be." The holes in space grew larger. Through them, Kethmore could see more ships. Thousands of them. Each one was different from the Endeavor, but clearly built with the same impossible technology. "Your reinforcements?" he asked. "Some of them. We have been calling our scattered fleets together. They have been waiting in other dimensions for our signal." "How many ships do you have?" "Enough, Admiral. Far more than enough." The holes in space began to close. The other human ships disappeared from view. But Kethmore knew they were still there, waiting just beyond reality. "What do you want us to do?" he asked. "Go home, Admiral. Tell your leaders what you have seen. Explain that we do not wish to fight, but we will defend ourselves if necessary. Tell them that we are not conquerors. We are survivors, and if they refuse to negotiate, then they will learn what the other civilizations learned. Fighting us only causes suffering for everyone involved. We have become very good at ending conflicts quickly. The human ship began to move away from the disabled Imperial fleet. As it left, the affected vessels started to regain power. Their systems came back online, one by one. Admiral, the engineering officer reported, all ships are returning to normal operation. No permanent damage. Kethmore stared at the retreating human vessel. In less than 20 minutes, it had made the Empire's greatest military force look like children playing with toys. And it had done so without killing a single person. Set course for home, he ordered quietly. All ships. Emergency speed. As the Imperial fleet prepared to leave, Kethmore took one last look at the human ship. It was opening another hole in space, preparing to disappear into whatever strange dimension it came from. He had come here to show the humans the power of the Empire. Instead, they had shown him that the Empire was nothing compared to what lay beyond the edge of known space. The galaxy was about to change forever, and there was nothing anyone could do to stop it. The High Council chamber on Zephyr Prime had never been so quiet. 12 of the most powerful beings in the Empire sat around a crystal table that had witnessed 1,000 years of decisions. Today, they faced a choice that would determine whether their civilization survived or faded into history. Admiral Kethmore stood before them, his uniform still bearing the scorch marks from his encounter with the human fleet. He had just finished telling them everything he had witnessed. The impossible technology, the casual demonstration of power that had made their greatest military force look helpless. High Counselor Murthok, the eldest member of the council, spoke first. Her ancient voice was barely a whisper, but everyone heard every word. You are telling us that a single ship defeated 700 of our best vessels? Not defeated, Counselor. They could have destroyed us all if they wanted to. Instead, they simply showed us how pointless resistance would be. And you believe their claims about being refugees? Admiral Kethmore nodded. Yes, Counselor. I spoke with their leader for many hours. Captain Chen was not lying. These humans are running from something that terrifies them. Counselor Vexdar, the military advisor, leaned forward. What could possibly frighten beings with such power? That is what we need to find out. Kethmore replied. Because if something can chase the humans across galaxies, what will it do to us? The council chamber's main screen activated. Captain Sarah Chen's image appeared, transmitted from somewhere beyond the edge of Imperial space. She looked even more tired than before. High Council of the Zephyrian Empire, she said. Thank you for agreeing to speak with me. Captain Chen, Murthok replied. We have heard Admiral Kethmore's report. We wish to know more about your intentions. My intentions are simple, Counselor. My people need a home. We have been traveling for over 300 years, searching for a place where we can rebuild our civilization. 300 years? How long do your people live? With our current technology, we can live for many centuries. But that is not the point. We have children who have never seen a planet's surface. We have families that have known only the inside of ships. We are tired of running. Counselor Zenkeri, the youngest member of the council, asked the question everyone was thinking. What are you running from? Sarah's expression became very serious. We call them the Devourers. They are not a species in any sense you would understand. They are consumption itself. They eat reality, matter, energy, life, everything. That sounds like mythology, Zenkari said. I wish it was. The Devourers consumed our home galaxy over the course of 5,000 years. They started at the edge and worked their way toward the center, destroying everything in their path. How did you escape? Not all of us did. Earth was one of the last worlds to fall. By then, we had learned to build ships that could travel between dimensions. We evacuated as many people as we could and fled to this galaxy. The council members looked at each other. The story was hard to believe, but the evidence of human technology was impossible to ignore. How many of your people survived? Murthok asked. Approximately 50 million souls, spread across 12,000 ships. We have been arriving in this galaxy slowly over the past year, trying to avoid attracting attention. 50 million? Counselor Dalseth, the population specialist, sounded shocked. That's more people than live on most of our core worlds. Yes, and we need places to settle them. We have identified several hundred empty worlds in the outer sectors that would be suitable for our colonies. Those worlds belong to the Empire, Vexstar declared. Sarah smiled sadly. Counselor, with respect, your people have never even visited most of those worlds. You claim them on star charts, but they remain empty and unused. That is not the point. The principle matters. The principle of what? Claiming ownership of something you will never use while others die in the cold of space? The council chamber fell silent. It was a good question, and everyone knew it. Admiral Kethmore spoke up. Counselor, perhaps we should consider the practical aspects of this situation. These humans have technology we cannot match. They could take what they need whether we agree or not. Are you suggesting we surrender our sovereignty? Vexstar demanded. I'm suggesting we recognize reality. The humans are here. More of them are coming. We can either work with them or be pushed aside by them. Sarah's voice came through the speakers. Admiral Kethmore is wise. But let me be clear about something. We do not want to push anyone aside. We have seen too much death and destruction. We want to build, not destroy. Then what do you propose? Murthok asked. Partnership. Your people have something we need. Knowledge of this galaxy. The safe worlds. The dangerous ones. The political boundaries. We have something you need. Technology that could advance your civilization by thousands of years. What kind of technology? Medical advances that could extend your lives indefinitely. Energy sources that could power your worlds forever. Transportation systems that could connect distant stars in minutes instead of months. The council members whispered among themselves. The offers were tempting, but they were also frightening. How could the Empire maintain control if their citizens had access to such advances? There is another consideration, Sarah continued. The Devourers may not be finished with us. They have crossed between galaxies before. If they follow us here, you will need our help to survive. Could your weapons stop these Devourers? Zenkari asked. Our weapons can slow them down, buy time for evacuation. But stopping them permanently? We have never found a way to do that. We can only run and hope they lose interest. The transmission ended, leaving the council alone with their thoughts. Outside the chamber windows, the lights of Zephyr Prime stretched to the horizon. Billions of citizens went about their lives, unaware that everything was about to change. What are our options? Murthok asked. We can fight them, Vexstar said. Call up every ship, every soldier. Make them pay for every world they take. You saw what happened to Kethmore's fleet, Dalseth replied. Fighting them would be suicide. We can negotiate, Zenkari suggested. Try to limit their expansion. Set boundaries. With what leverage? Vexstar asked. They can take whatever they want. Or we can accept the inevitable, Murthok said quietly. The age of the Empire is ending. We can either adapt to the new reality or be swept aside by it. The vote was closer than anyone expected. 7 counselors voted to negotiate with the humans. 5 voted to resist them. But the decision was made. 3 months later, the first human colony ships arrived at the world they called New Geneva. The colonists were peaceful farmers and scientists, grateful for the chance to feel soil beneath their feet again. Within a year, human technology began to transform imperial society. Diseases that had plagued the empire for centuries were cured in days. Energy shortages became a thing of the past. Travel between distant worlds took hours instead of weeks. But the empire was no longer truly an empire. It had become a junior partner in something much larger. The humans were not cruel rulers, but they were clearly in charge. Their technology was too advanced, their knowledge too vast, their power too great. Admiral Kethmore, now serving as Imperial liaison to the human fleet commanders, often wondered if they had made the right choice. The Empire still existed, but it was not the same. They were safe, prosperous, and advancing rapidly. But they were no longer alone at the top of the galactic order. That position now belonged to humanity, and somewhere in the darkness between galaxies, something ancient and hungry was beginning to notice the new lights that had appeared in this quiet corner of space.